Stop me if you've heard this one before. New game gets released on platform. New game isn't as technically impressive as the best looking game on said platform. New game is then immediately compared to PS2 graphics because it's not the cream of the crop. You know, I get it's a joke and all, but part of me is starting to wonder if people even remember what PS2 graphics looked like. Some titles look better than others, sure, but 6th generation games typically had flat lighting, low detail, short draw distance, muddy textures, bad models, and the like. It took a special kind of bad looking game to be mistaken for 6th generation, but now shitty PS2 games are coming out all the time. The PS2 must hold some kind of award for most games released in 2015, or ever for a matter of fact. The number of shitty looking PS2 games will never stop growing as long as gaming exists. Now, part of me understands that most people making this claim know they're just being mean-spirited. But there's also a part of me that genuinely wonders if people can actually tell a difference anymore. If we understand that we're all just kind of joking, or if this joke has become so cemented that we literally can't identify the calling card of the 6th generation game. If only there was a way to test it. We all know how this joke works. If a game isn't leading the charge on revolutionary graphics or it has like one average looking scene, then it's a shitty PS2 title. Most 6th gen games don't really stand the test of time very well, but a few can still look the part to some degree. Even the best looking titles don't compare to its contemporaries on modern hardware. This is mostly apparent in how the games are lit. I'm not an expert on technical lighting terms, so I can only say that just by looking at it, 6th gen games kinda look flat. They lack ambient occlusion, convincing depth of field, things that really flesh out a scene. Some 6th gen titles still look pretty good, but when you hold them up to modern hardware, their faults become pretty clear. And since gamers love being graphics critics, I thought it'd be fun to test their eye for hardware. In order to make this test work, I had to walk a fine line of not being obvious and also not being unfair. If a game shows too much detail, then its hardware of origin would be obvious. If I used a wide open space, then the ones with poor draw distance would stand out. I also had to make sure things weren't very recognizable. I did my best to find areas in games that wouldn't linger in player memory so the games couldn't easily be identified. I also took out the heads-up display as well. I tended towards indoor spaces and outdoor scenes where draw distance couldn't be questioned. I also upscaled the 6th generation game's resolution to match current gen so you couldn't just point to the 480p frame as a 6th generation title. That'd be way too easy. Now, doing that doesn't affect lighting or level of detail, and the textures still look muddy. There's a lot of indicators that this is a 6th gen title, but I didn't want the resolution to be a factor. I'm also treating any titles used by the Wii as 6th generation since that's pretty much how strong it was. With that in mind, I picked out the following titles and scenes. Running this test online, the only apparent 6th generation title that stood out to people was Time Splitters, likely because it was right below a modern version of a similar looking scene and people could spot the differences in lighting. Almost 80% called it out. Next most identifiable after that was Metroid Prime 2, almost 66%. After that, however, the numbers start falling off. Now, my total number of survey takers was low, and I can go on and on about the problems of online surveys. They're nice for getting your feet wet on a possible data set, but it isn't as fun as testing real gamers in person. So, let's see if real gamers can actually identify shitty PS2 games.
This first one
I would say that's 360 PS4 gen. I would say that that would be 7th gen.
That looks like either Tomb Raider or like Shadow of the Colossus, something like that. So if I were to guess, I would say 7th gen actually.
Some pretty good textures. Holy shit, is it a game screenshot or is it an in-game render? I'd have to say, you know, like maybe 6th gen, maybe a PS4 or Xbox One. It's the level of detail is pretty good.
The fire effect on that one little torch there doesn't quite look up to par with everything else, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it's Gen 8.
It almost looks like concept art, but I see a lot of climbable ledges and stuff, so it might be an Assassin's Creed game. I would say from PS3, 360 era maybe.
Dark. It kind of looks like Uncharted to me because I played Uncharted, the first one, recently. So that is, I guess that is 7th gen PS3.
I'm gonna go with 7th gen. Sixth gen? It kind of looks like the Resident Evil remake with the lighting, but I don't know.
I'm questioning it only because between Xbox 360, PS3, and there was kind of a time where the graphics for those consoles weren't exactly as good as they ended up being. Like towards the end, they started getting much better, and this seems like an early Xbox 360 game. That's what this strikes me as, number 2.
That looks kind of like Half-Life or Left 4 Dead, like something Valve would make, that sort of thing. Either 7th gen or very late 6th gen, like very late, like late Xbox, late PS2. So I'd say, yeah, 7th. There's 2 7ths in a row, I think. I am probably way off.
That's really good. I don't know, maybe Resident Evil... What was the Revelations 2?
The textures on the pipe don't look as good, and I'm seeing some of the corners on the pipes in the background there, and the lighting isn't quite as good from the light bulbs and that little light in the very back. I'm gonna say that's Gen 6.
I don't like the pipe textures. They look kind of old. So, but I do like the lighting in the background. So I'm kind of torn between 6th generation and 7th generation. I'm gonna go with 6th generation, like a PS2 game maybe.
It's kind of deceptive, that one, because it's dark. The lighting probably looks 7th gen. I don't know what game. Just because of the way it's all lit up, it looks like something that the 7th gen consoles could do. Because of how dark it is, it's quite deceptive, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'd say 7th gen.
My gut says 6th gen, but I feel like this is a shitty 360 game, so I could be wrong.
I would say that this is Gen 6. Definitely looks like GameCube, PS2. Definitely PS2 or Xbox.
Okay, that's definitely got to be third one. That's definitely got to be 6th gen, right? I mean, look at the polygon forming around the pipe, the edge of the pipe.
Wow. It's impressive wall texturing. I'd say maybe like Half-Life 2 or something along those lines.
This makes me question whether or not the other one was Gen 7. Because this looks way worse. Okay, I'm gonna retract my statement. I'm gonna say the last one was Gen 7, and I'm gonna say this is Gen 6, because the little doorway hallway on the left, that looks awful. The textures look awful.
Impressive wall texturing.
The lighting is very simple, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna say it's Gen 6.
This one kind of looks like the last one with the... I don't really like the pipe textures here, but... Or the ground, really. I'm stuck between 6th and 7th gen. I'm gonna go with 7th gen, in case I got the last one wrong.
That is PS2 era stuff, so 6th gen. I mean, the lighting looks pretty good, actually. The archway looks kind of blocky, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of... It kind of looks like hexagonal rather than a round arch. I don't know. PS2 era, so 6th gen, I guess.
I'm gonna say 6th gen on this nice tropical picture. It kind of feels very GameCube-y.
This one definitely looks like a GameCube game, actually. Number 4 looks like a GameCube game. I can't tell which one, though. The only reason I might have to question that is because there's foliage, but the textures up close definitely look very GameCube-esque, and the only reason I would say it might not be GameCube is the lighting here in this image. So I don't know, like, most of these don't necessarily actually look like games, but apparently they are, so I hope I'm doing this video right.
Oh, that's definitely 6th gen. That is definitely 6th gen. In fact, that kind of looks like the sort of game that I would like. I want to know what that is. You can tell, like, the tree on the left, that is stretched out the fuck.
I have no idea what it's from, but I'd say something... I don't know. Let's see. That would, with the colors like this, it would probably be a Wii U game or maybe a 360 game. Because the textures on the trees make it look like a last-gen game.
I'm gonna say you can still kind of see the edges on some of the trees, but the grass looks really nice. I'd like to get a closer look at the water. The water effect looks like it could be good. I don't recognize this game either. And it looks like maybe a game I would recognize. More bright, fun game, I guess. I'm gonna say Gen 6 on this one as well.
This one has very stylized graphics, which makes it really hard to tell specifically what generation it's from. That big tree on the left, the textures, they look really old, bad. So I'm gonna say this is 6th gen, possibly from GameCube.
Number 4, I'm gonna say again that 6th era, but it looks suspiciously Nintendo-like, because Nintendo loved the colours. So yeah, the art style makes me think Nintendo.
6th. They're all 6th gen. I think that's the key here.
This next one's definitely 360, PS3, and kind of Wii U. I mean, Wii U's a little better than that.
That is really nice looking. That is really... Wait. Because the lighting is really good. Like, the shadows are great. Is that Eternal Darkness? That looks like Eternal Darkness. Damn. Okay, I'm at an impasse here. Oh, that is a tough one. I'm gonna say... No, I haven't said 8th gen for any of these, but the thing is I haven't really played an 8th gen game except Wii U, so I can't identify that, but... Oh, that's tough. You know what, I'm just gonna guess Eternal Darkness. I'm guessing it's Eternal Darkness. It looks like it.
Maybe a PC game, PC indie kind of game by it looks like. I would have to say PC, so I guess current gen.
This one doesn't look quite as bad. The lighting seems a little better to me. Like the shadows on the chairs and the paintings there. I don't really see any edges on anything like I did in the other pictures. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is Gen 7. It looks a little better to me, but maybe it's just the style.
This one looks pretty new. The lighting and stuff makes it look pretty good. The carpet texturing, all that kind of thing. It's either 7th or 8th gen, but I'm gonna say it's 8th.
This one looks Resident Evil-ish, but not old Resident Evil. I don't know if this is the remake of Resident Evil. If it is the remake, that just opens up another can of worms. Is this the new remake or the original remake? I don't know. I'm gonna guess that is the original remake. So, GameCube era, so that would be 6th gen.
8th gen. With all that snow. I can't see that shit being done in 7th, but you probably put some red X over my head and say that I'm wrong.
Almost looks like Alan Wake, actually. I would definitely say 360. Or maybe that's not. Maybe that's actually... since it's still, these images are kind of hard to grasp, actually. I would say... that flora on the right there makes it look... certainly, that's what sort of makes me question this, and because like the distant view, I've definitely seen like images like that on the 360 before. I'm gonna say Xbox One, PS4 generation. I could see it being that.
7th gen. That's gotta be. Like, it looks realistic, but there's still, like, the leaves don't look quite right, and the shadows are a bit... That's a tough one. I think late 6th gen. Late 7th gen. Late 7th gen, yes.
It's kind of dark to see what's really going on here, but I don't know. Maybe a GameCube kind of game by the looks of it.
This looks very nice. That might be the snow effect tricking me. And it looks like a fire in the background. The flowers in the front are casting a nice shadow. I'm not seeing a whole lot of edges. Everything looks pretty well rounded. I'm gonna say this is Gen 8 because it looks quite nice. The lighting, the shadow effect it's creating, the tree shadow. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is Gen 8.
It's almost hard to tell with darker pictures, but all the details with the snow and the shadow on the plant in the front, it makes it look pretty new. So I'm gonna say 8th generation.
Okay, so number 6 is very dark with lots of snow. I can't zoom in on this either. Oh yeah, I can. I'm gonna guess that's PS3, 360 era stuff, so 7th gen, just because of the snow. Unless it's from a cutscene, I'd say that, just because there weren't many games I played on PS2 that had like that amount of snow. So yeah, I'd say that, just because of the snow effects.
That definitely 6th. It looks like... This one looks like Resident Evil as well. But the tree is like... 666. Hail Satan.
It's tricky. See, because games like number 7, because games like to stylize, it can be kind of tricky to distinguish at this point. And I think I'm assuming that's the purpose of this video, is to sort of show that it can be somewhat difficult to distinguish the graphical fidelity between the new ones and the old ones when you just look at a still framed image. I think in motion it's much easier to tell nowadays, but definitely based on still images like this, for sure, it's kind of difficult. Though I think I'm gonna go with 360 PS4 generation, or PS3, sorry.
Oh, that's gotta be 8th gen, right? The lighting's great. That's gotta be 8th gen. Again, never played an Xbox One or PS4 game, but that looks really nice. Like everything, like you can see the rain on all the stuff. Like looks gorgeous. That's gotta be 8th gen, surely.
Dark statue at night. Wow, that looks pretty impressive. I don't know, maybe a 360 PS3 game?
This looks like it could be quite possibly from the same game. It's funny that I don't recognize any of these games. The light from the light pole is casting a nice glare on the I'm assuming that's a tombstone. And I like the statue that's there, the headless statue. The tree, I think that's an edge I'm seeing on the tree. The I don't know the name of that one. The lines of a shape aren't rounded enough. You're seeing the corners, the edges. I'm gonna say this is not quite Gen 8, but it's not Gen 6. I'm gonna say it's Gen 7. I'm gonna say this is Gen 7 right here.
Once again, this one's pretty dark, so my answer's gonna be a shot in the dark. That lighting really, it's gotta be a 7th or 8th generation game. I'm gonna guess 8th generation, just because all the rain and stuff and all the detail there.
A statue with no head, and it's very dark. Again, I'm gonna say 7th, just because of how the rain is lit up with the street lamp. Again, I can only guess that based on whether or not that's taken from gameplay. If it's from a cutscene, it could be anything. So I don't know what game though. Not from that image anyway. Somewhat spooky, I guess. Somewhat scary.
Going with 7th gen because of the lighting, I guess.
Definitely number 8 is definitely PS2, maybe. Either PS2, GameCube, Xbox, or very early Xbox 360, PS3.
Wait, that looks familiar. Skyscrapers in the back. That, I think I know what game that is. I think that's Central the Third, right?
The next one here looks like a cityscape outside. Maybe Watch Dogs, I don't know. With the lighting, maybe Uncharted 2. Yeah, maybe an Uncharted kind of game. So PS3.
I don't really know how to feel about this one. The textures on the pole at the very front really make me think this is Gen 6. They look blurry. They look like they're stretched out, like they're not meant for that kind of shape. And the textures on the wall, now that I notice it, are kind of like that too. I'm gonna say it's Gen 6, just based on the texturing at the very front. You kind of can't tell on the stuff on the back.
This one looks older, definitely. The lighting's very sharp, as in it doesn't blend well. The textures on the railing in the front, they're pretty bad. The stairs too. I'm gonna guess it's a 6th generation game. Probably on the Xbox or something like that.
Image number 8, which is of a bridge with some lights. I've been saying 7th gen a lot for all of them, but I know I sound like a parrot, but I'm gonna say early 7th gen, I guess. It's just the lighting more than anything else. But then again, the textures on the rail don't look very sharp, but I don't know. I'm gonna say 7th gen for that one.
All these ones that look pre-rendered make me feel like it's Resident Evil, which I haven't really played that much, so I don't know all the areas.
I'm gonna say early-ish Xbox 360, PS3.
I do not recognize that game, but I'm gonna guess 8th gen. That looks like a really high-res PC game. I don't know, it looks like the kind of game that I could not run, so I'm gonna say 8th gen, because I mean I can run like 7th gen games on my PC, just not 8th gen, so yeah, 8th gen.
Bunch of inside areas. I have no idea what this one's from. Maybe, what was it? I don't know. It's really good, so I'm probably going to say maybe a PC or a PS3 or an Xbox 360.
There's lights in the background there. I'm going to say this is... See, there's not a whole lot of textures for me to go off of here. I'm not really... And any of these would be perfectly fine by me. I'm not picky about my graphics. None of these have been like absolutely stunning. But some of them were a little less than the others. But I'm going to say this is Gen 6. No, Gen 7. This is Gen 7. It's not quite as bad. It's a little simple. The lighting is not as good as I would expect from a Gen 8. But none of the textures look bad. None of the shapes look too edgy. So I'm going to say this is Gen 7.
This one's dark too, so it's hard to see some things. The lighting is definitely above the 6th generation era. But it's hard to tell past that. I'm gonna guess it's a 7th gen game, like a PS3 maybe.
Number 9 is of some sort of library type place. It's very dark and I don't know, these are difficult. It's because of the lighting what throws me off. Because the actual models don't look that detailed, but I don't know. I'll say 6th. For number 9, I'll say 6th because, yeah, it just looks very, very blocky. And although the lighting is there, it's not there in great amounts or anything. There's no, like, shadows, really, of characters. I don't know.
Number 10, 8th gen. That looks like that stupid zombie parkour game, but it's probably not.
10, Xbox 360, PS3.
Number 10, I'd say it's also 8th gen because that lighting is gorgeous. That's some realistic lighting. Wait, let me actually look at the textures before I run in. The textures and the graphics and all that. So either 8th gen or really late 7th gen. Like if Sleeping Dogs like got a really like HD update, that's kind of what it looked like. So I'm gonna say, because I just had 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 9, 7, 8, 7, 8. 8th gen. Just a stab.
Let's see. The next one we got here, a bunch of lighting outside and some rafters. Floored me, man. Game statistic guy. You chose stuff that I have no idea what they are. I have no idea. I'm floored. Looks like a bit of, looks like maybe a big mix between 6th or 7th generation, so I'd have to say, I don't know, 360 or PS3.
This looks like the village in Resident Evil 5. And it's been forever since I played Resident Evil 5. The lighting looks nice, I think. The lighting looks nice. This might be a different, the lighting, I guess they're doing the lighting differently than the other pictures. I'm going to say this is a Gen 8. Everything looks nice. Everything looks pretty photorealistic. That's what I would expect from from all the textures.
I like the shadows in this one, especially the detail they have it, and the crates in the front. They have a lot of detail as well. I actually think this is Dying Light. So I'm gonna say 8th generation.
Right, number 10. This looks suspiciously like Resident Evil 5 or Dead Island. Either way, I'm gonna say 7th gen because it looks like both of those games and they were both on PS3 and Xbox 360, so yeah.
Kind of looks like the beginning area in Dark Souls 2. I'm going 7th or 8th gen.
What game is that? That's Skyrim, isn't it? It almost looks like Skyrim.
What is this one? Number 11. It's like sort of like, wait, that flame. I was about to say a 7th gen, but I looked at the fire. That doesn't look amazing. So, and I thought it was gonna be like Amnesia or something. So, unless that's Eternal Darkness, every every 6th gen game was Eternal Darkness apparently. Yeah, I'm gonna say 6th gen on that one because the fire does not. It looks like it would be, if you went up to it, it would be 2D.
This next one here in a dark room with a little fire or a little chair that's being looked like. I want to say PC game, so current gen, 8th gen, right? Yeah.
So all the light from this picture is coming from the fire in the middle. Looks like a dungeon. I can't quite tell what this is, what I'm looking at. There's a chair, I think. This looks like something you would see in a Amnesia custom story, though. So, I'm going to say it's Gen 6. The fire looks like a JPEG image. And maybe that's what fire looks like when it's standing still. But that is purely what I'm coming up with, is Gen 6 based on the fire.
The screenshot's really dark, and I can't see the fire in motion. That would help a lot. So I'm gonna say 7th generation just to be safe, but it might be 6th generation.
I might say PS2 era for that, just because it's so dark. It might hide the fact that the textures aren't there. I don't know. I'm gonna say PS2 era. So what's that? That's 6th gen. Yeah.
6th gen. I don't know. This whole thing, I get it. I get what you're doing.
Oh, that's Metroid Prime 2. Number 12 is definitely Metroid Prime 2.
That's gotta be early 7th gen, I think. Early 7th. I mean, it's gotta be, right? Oh, it could be PS2 actually. That looks like a PS2 game. Yeah, just as well. I don't recognize most of these games, so I can't really cheat and go, I know that, except Saints Row the Third. But that's gotta be 6th. Yes, yeah, I can. Yeah, on the bit on the top of the cliff, you have like what looks like cobwebs connecting the path at the top. There's like the connecting bit from that path to the cliff. It's like got a big line down it. That's like where it would connect the model together. I think that's gotta be 6th.
And the next one here, it looks like like a little mountainscape with some trees. I'd have to say maybe Borderlands, it looks like, with the cell shading. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Borderlands. So a PS3 360 game.
Oh, hello. This looks strange. I'm gonna say this is Gen 6 because the textures on the metal work is simple. The spiderwebs look weird. The spiderwebs in the background, the cobwebs, I guess they are. The sky doesn't have really anything going to it. It's a gray cloud. The rocks look awful. The rocks look absolutely awful. I'm gonna say Gen 6.
Just looking at the trees in the background makes me I mean, this has got to be a 6th generation game, unless that was a design choice. But they would make it look better than that if it was a newer game. The machine in the front looks pretty good, but that's just looking at those trees. It has to be 6th generation.
And the last one is number 12, which is of some hill with some funky looking machinery. I think I should know what that game is, but I don't. I'm going to say 6th gen for that one, because everything just looks a bit blocky. I'm probably wrong for all of these, but yeah, I'm going to say 6th gen for that one. It looks quite blocky. I mean, the way the trees are in the background, they're very pointy. But then again, that could be art style, not graphics, so I don't know.